There are new details coming in on what city might be next, actually, the next target for ICE and Border Patrol in the president's immigration crackdown. Sources now tell CNN that the Trump administration's top border official is expected in New Orleans early next month. Raids in North Carolina have been ongoing. More than 200 people have been arrested in Charlotte, North Carolina over the last 3 days. And it's not just Charlotte. Federal agents have also been seen in Wake and Durham counties. CNN's Diane Gallagher is in Charlotte tracking all of this for us. What is the latest that you're picking up, Diane?
You know, Kate, we are in East Charlotte where many immigrant-owned businesses and immigrants in the city tend to live. And if I am quiet for just a moment, you hear nothing. It is dead out here. The businesses are closed. There are not people walking on the streets. We didn't see kids waiting at the bus stop. And that's kind of how you can describe the city of Charlotte right now. We're on day 5 of this, quote, Operation Charlotte's Web from Customs and Border Protection. And you can see the chilling effect across the city. Citizens, undocumented people who all say that they just feel uncomfortable right now being in their city. Now, you mentioned that the operation has sort of moved beyond Charlotte's city limits. We're talking about 2.5, 3 hours north. They're in Wake County and Cary and Durham and Raleigh, but also in the neighboring cities of Charlotte right now. The Huntersville mayor saying there's been activity in her city right now. We are looking at what the effect has been here. The school system saying that, again, on Monday, more than 30,000 students were absent. That is nearly triple the average number of kids. So they are seeing this effect. DHS says so far they feel like they're having quite a fruitful operation here, talking about those more than 200 arrests. People in the community, though, say they are going to continue fighting back. At the Mecklenburg County Board of Commissioners last night, they passed a resolution saying they supported their immigrant neighbors here in the city of Charlotte, and people spoke out.
Violence for political purposes is terrorism. What is happening in the streets of Mecklenburg County is not public safety, it's not security, it's meant to instill fear.
Now, CNN sources have indicated that Gregory Bavino and at least 250 officers will head to New Orleans that first week of December. But the governor of North Carolina says he's not exactly sure when the operation here in Charlotte will end. Josh Stein says that though he has contacted the White House, no one has responded to his reach outs, that he has not been in contact with CBP about the operation and has no idea when they will actually leave the Queen City.
That seems to be a consistent through line with all of these operations, is that absolutely no coordination with local officials, as is traditional. Diane, thank you so much for that reporting.
How? We want justice, you say how? We want justice, you say how? ICE out of Raleigh now! ICE out of Raleigh now!
Immigration officials in North Carolina spotted in more cities, and the people of the state want them out. Protesters taking to the streets as more than 200 arrests are made in Charlotte. Mom and pop shops shutting their doors out of precaution. More than 30,000 students in the Charlotte area kept home from school on Monday. The Mecklenburg County Board of Commissioners passed a resolution last night affirming constitutional protections for immigrant communities. Now, while the move is mostly symbolic, it is aimed at helping calm some of the fears.
I feel fear just for being Latina, and I asked one of them why they had deceived us. They had told us they were going to look for criminals, but they are not looking for criminals. They are only following the profile we have, that we are Latinos, Hispanics. They are pursuing us. We are like at war in this city.
I want to take this to the group chat for a couple of reasons. One, Chuck, the recent Supreme Court ruling says that agents are allowed to question people based on how they look, the language they speak. Kavanaugh saying, look, it's typically brief. Those individuals go free, right, after they make it clear that they're U.S. citizens. How is this playing out in reality? to you when you see someone with a quote like that, or just what you're seeing in these cities?
The terror is real, and we were just talking about Virginia and New Jersey, and I bring it back there and we'll connect it because we knocked on 100,000 Latino doors in Passaic, New Jersey. You saw the big swing in that vote from Trump back to Mikey Sherrill. And when we were talking to Latinos at the door, they were angry that the process hasn't come down like Trump had talked about. But at the center of everything was this anxiety in an immigrant community about these ICE agents that are masked, that are there, that are picking up law-abiding citizens, their neighbors, their friends. They were like, sure, we were all about getting bad people out of our country, deport all the criminals, but not our neighbors. Didn't you see in North Carolina, the fastest growing state in the country of Latino population over the last 25 years? And you also look at this state where it's probably got the most vulnerable Senate race coming up in the next midterm elections. That's less than a year from now.
Yeah, that's one of the reasons why I wanted to talk about it, Dustin. It's a purple state. We did actually see a meaningful swing in New Jersey in the exact coalition of voters, some Latino voters, that Republicans said, look what we can do. We can make gains here. And those gains look eroded. What do you see in a state like North Carolina, where the political question's really live?
Well, in New Jersey, it might seem strange to some people, but that's largely because Donald Trump wasn't on the ballot, and he seems to be the one who is able to win over those voters. Looking at national polling, so in the November Harvard-Harris poll, it might be surprising to some folks. It's actually surprising to me. 54% still say that they would like to see all of those immigrants who are here illegally to be deported.
Here illegally.
Here illegally,
so
yes.
When people are picked up who are legally here, do those images, social media videos resonate?
When I'm talking about, like, you see the media coverage, obviously it can inspire fear for folks, and I get that. But this has been the issue that ultimately, 2024, the economy, the lawfare, the assassination attempts, of course, had an impact on that election, but it largely turned on the immigration issue.
And so you think you're still good? You don't see red flags yet?
I don't personally,
Yeah.
but I am just telling you what the public opinion
So
is.
to your point about the media, I want to play for you what Pope Leo had to say, because, they can put these videos out without us. Here he is.
We have to look for ways of treating people humanely, treating people with the dignity that they have. But when people are living good lives, and many of them for 10, 15, 20 years, to treat them in a way that is extremely disrespectful, to say the least, and there's been some violence, unfortunately.
This has been also followed up by bishops who put out a video also agreeing with the Pope. I know that DHS is proud of what they are doing. They talk about, I think, 527,000 have been removed under the Trump administration's leadership. This is following up on a promise. Do they see any red flags from the last election? Like, help me understand their approach.
Well, I think the White House is actually really supportive of what DHS is doing. I think, to your point, yes, there are a lot of polls that show that the American voter is relatively still supportive of this idea of we need to be deporting people who are in this country. What they aren't supportive, though, in polls and anecdotally that I've heard from folks across the political spectrum of these really harsh videos that look like they're just kind of pulling people off the street. And so I think that there is a risk there for the White House. But, Donald Trump himself has said not enough of that is happening in various different interviews. And so I think you're going to see them continue to push. Obviously, Greg Bovino being in North Carolina and then potentially moving.
Customs and Border Patrol chief, who a lot of questions were raised about his use of force in Chicago.
But he's really been elevated at a really kind of accelerated scale by DHS and by the White House to be in these positions and to kind of lead the front in these new democratic cities, which should be mentioned, right?
It's really important to say here that our immigration system as a whole has been broken since 9/11. It's almost been impossible to come here, quote unquote, legally. So a lot of people have come to this country and have followed all the rules except maybe crossing the border, and they've contributed $28 billion to Social Security.
We should make it clear, a lot of the rules are different now, right?
So if you're giving money to Social Security, you're working and paying Social Security taxes.
Right, but I think from the White House's perspective, what they're saying is that what you see in the streets and on the videos is not a huge problem to them now.
Okay, we'll see. Those are your videos they're talking about. We'll see if there's more of them.